Hello, BookTube. This is Alan. Friday Reads, and maybe this won't be as long as the last one I posted. I'm sorry about the length for that one. Hope it didn't put a lot of people to sleep. But I want to mention again what I'm reading. This is The Game by Ken Dryden, which I showed on my last video. This is not only one of the best hockey books written, it's also one of the best sports books. If someone has a son who wants to go professional sports, have him read this book. Ken Dryden talks about how he lives by a schedule, and that schedule is ongoing. He talks about how he's on a road trip, and that for a game, goes to the game, goes to different cities. Now I'll just read you this little section here. So, life on the road comes at a price. The energy it gives, the freedom you feel, it takes away, and more. 26 weeks in the season. 80 games, from bus to plane to bus to hotel to bus to arena to bus to plane to a league full of cities 3 times a week. A rhythm like any other rhythm. It is one you get used to, except this one is always changing, and you never do. Like a skillful runner in a distant race, it sets the pace and plays with you, growing slower than you want it to, speeding up before you're ready, gradually wearing you down until after 4 games and 5 nights in 4 different cities, you're weak and vulnerable and it sprints away from you. Several times a year it happens to me. A game at night, charting into the early morning, waking up, and you don't know where, you really don't care, hungover from fatigue, arms, legs aching for sleep. Last night's snack, 5 hours just stale in your mouth. A shower, a shave, and they all go away. 20 minutes later, they're back. You take an afternoon nap to get through a game, a flight, a new hotel, and you can't sleep because you slept in the afternoon. It means going from nap to nap, from game to game, just one never-ending day with no big sleep to send you on to the next one. Then the phone goes off like electrodes in your brain, and you're up again. Morning, afternoon, a plane, a game. It is, you don't know which, and you really don't care. There are newspapers on the bed, shirt, jacket, pants are slung in the chair, a tie tied and untied until it's seersucked, lies sprawled on the floor, still tied. You reach for your suitcase, inside you find fresh clothes, freshly wrinkled, and what the hell you grab the old ones and put them on again. In, out, 2 points in the season to go. You're on the run, you'll never catch up until it's over. This is life in a revolving door. Home, away, home again, spinning around and round until Montreal is just one more stop on the road. And you're never really anywhere but on the way, just picking up, packing up, and moving on. And you're never around to see how things turn out. A bump on the head, a trip to the hospital, and 2,000 miles later you're saying, "How are you feeling, Sarah?" Sarah is his wife. You have an argument, time's up. We'll talk about it when I get back. It's a road mentality. Popping in, performing for the truth, popping out again. There are no commitments, no responsibilities. We leave absence become the tie that binds. Then one day, daddies come home, and lives get rearranged. New dresses are put on, rooms get cleaned up, special meals are prepared. We arrive with gifts, are treated like special company, and everything is wonderfully the same. Except this time, where once you felt loneliness, where you left a family to live off the goodness of neighborhood fathers, You come home to a family that's learned to cope, a family that has built a life without you. Another book I'm reading is Book of Psalms by Robert Alter. I've been going through this on occasions. One of the things in his introduction that he says is that the Biblical Hebrew is what linguists call a synthetic language, as opposed to the analytical language, such as English. Pronominal objects and verbs are usually indicated by the acoustic suffix attached to the verb. The pronominal subject of verbs is usually indicated by the way the verb is conjugated, without need to introduce the pronoun, unless it's added for emphasis. Thus, he will guard you is a single word, yeshmorah. Instead of using possessive pronouns, nouns are declined with possessive suffix, and the verb to be has no present tense. Instead, being merely implied by the juxtaposition of a subject noun and a predicate noun, hence the King James Version constantly italicized is, because there's no literal equivalent in the Hebrew text. Thus, the Lord is my shepherd, Psalm 23, is only 2 words, 4 syllables in the Hebrew, Yahweh Roi. And so, so this is the Book of Psalms, Robert Alter. The next book I'm reading is this one, The Shadow King, by Maza Regensti. I saw this on Eric Earl Anderson's, if I said that right, channel, and it's about this orphan girl named Harut, Hirut, Hirut, who is an orphan and works as a maid in a house with the a gentleman by the name of Candide, who is a officer in Haile Selassie's army, and his wife Aster. And so what happens in the book is that Italy attacks Ethiopia, and Haile Selassie goes into exile to England. And so far, I'm not that deep into the book as yet. I'm only on page 46, and this is 300, almost 400 pages. And so far, it's good, but so far it's like there are no this author does what Cormac McCarthy does in his novels, is that he doesn't put quotation marks on when person's speaking. So that's used. That is definitely used a lot in his book. And another thing about the book is that her descriptions of things, and there's a long list of things about which don't add anything to the story. We'll see how the rest of this goes. I'm also dipping in and out of this book called The Documents of the Christian Church, small little thing, by Benedson. This is Oxford University Press book. This one came out in 1954. The title page, Documents of the Christian Church. And I bought this at a half-price clearance sale at a huge building they had back in August, I believe, August, September. I can sell just a minute. Excuse me. Half Price Books was founded in Dallas in early 1970s by men and women. They have moved several places in Dallas because of their expansion. They are in 17 states now and expanding even more. They're up in Ohio and throughout the South. Of course, in Texas, they have about 100 stores. But yeah, they haven't, and mostly they're on university campuses or close to the university campuses because they buy used books. Not a very good, they don't give you a very good price for a used book. When you bring a book in, say, I'm going to sell these books, and you really don't get a very good price for them. And they also sell used books. They have antiquarian books. They have Easton Press books. They have books that have been autographed. They keep in the display case. And I saw 2 signed Harry Potter books. They wanted $850 for it. And you know, they have a lot of rare books. They have a lot of LPs, records. They stopped buying VHSs and went to DVDs instead. And they have a lot of comic books, old magazines, National Geographic, of course, and other magazines. And you can find some bargains in there. And they do have a clearance rack. Some of their books in the back of the store, which you could go in there, see a book on the shelf, and it'll be like $15 for a $30 book. And you go, oh, well, I don't want to pay that much. And wait almost a year, and that book will be on the clearance rack for about $6. So they have once a year they have this huge, once or twice a year they have this huge clearance, and this held at a huge convention center. A lot of books there. I think they get them from all the other stores around, but this is the history of Christian Doctrines. And what this is just he had put together different selections from different from earliest days. This is the first page is references to Christianity and classical authors, the title of this chapter. And then we use Tacticus and talk about where this is just a little brief sentence and talk about where, and there's a little notation down here where this came from. So you can go back and look at the this annuals number 13 and find the exact reference for this on the Tacticus. And he does this throughout. There's one on Justin, was one on different writers, Roman writers. There's one on Church and State, the Christian loyalty to the emperor under the Apologies. There's one on the martyrdom of Polycarp by the Bishop of Smyrna. And this one goes on for several pages, and that actually comes from a letter from the church of Smyrna, the first martyrology, it says. So this just keeps going on. Yeah, the persecution of the Valerian. There's one on Pliny the Younger that he wrote about, the Edict of Toleration. And this just goes on when comes up to the Atonement, and you have Ignatius, Bishop of Antioch, and it just keeps going on. Letter of Gregory the Seventh, and the Pope and Imperial Elections, Statement of Papal Claim by Innocent III. And it's just really short. And of course, like I said, it has little notations at the end where you can just go back and look it up if you wanted to. Here's one on. This is the rule of Benedict, which is Benedict or Narcia, was born at Narcia at the close of the 5th century. He renounced the world age of 14. Finally settled at Mount Cassio, where he founded his monastery. He died in 543. By the 9th century, his rule has superseded all others and formed the base of new orders, such as the Cistercians and the Clinics. And this is just a little about him, and just how monks are to sleep. That was on section 22 on the extent of excommunication of grave faults concerning boys underage, how they shall be corrected. So number 30, whether the monks should have anything of their own. And it's just basic rules that are set down by the monks. And this goes on pretty long. And yeah, you have the rule of St. Francis. Excuse me. And going on further, you have the Peace of Augsburg. And see how far this goes. I don't never. And then you have the Oxford Movement. And one in 1833. So I guess it ends in about 1833 and started right before Constantine. So it's a very, very good book. Oh, here's one on the Orthodox Church and Anglican orders, encyclica Anglican orders from the ecumenical patriarch to the presidents of particular Eastern Orthodox churches, 1922. So it's a very handy book. It's like, you know, if you just reading along and you said, oh, I want to learn more about this, and then you just go to that source. Well, this wasn't that long. It wasn't too long, it was 40 minutes. And so thank you very much and have a good day.